Hey everyone, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and welcome back. I get a lot of questions about classroom management, so today I want to share some of my favorite tips for helping students manage their behavior, both at the classroom level and at the school level. Whether you're a new teacher or an administrator, I think you'll find something useful here. So let's start with the classroom. A lot of times, teachers reach out and explain their exact situation, their grade level, the behaviors they're seeing. But I want to encourage you to think more broadly about your approach. One of the most effective things I've learned over the years is to use restorative practices instead of focusing solely on punishment. Now, don't get me wrong, hard work and accountability are incredibly important, but I've done it all, written the referrals, sent kids to in school suspension, enforced the rules to the letter. And while those consequences are sometimes necessary, I found that actually talking to students, getting to know what they care about, and helping them feel connected to school works so much better in the long run. Let me give you an example. Every year, I'd have a few students who were, let's just say, a little high energy. I taught both science and intensive reading, so my classroom was a mix of all kinds of learners: students in advanced programs, students with IEPs, and students who just didn't like school very much. And what I learned was that the same student who couldn't sit still for 5 minutes might also be running a small business on the weekends, making more money than I was at 17. So, behavior doesn't define a kid. For those high energy students, I learned that keeping them busy was key. I'd make them my helpers, passing out papers, cleaning up lab materials, organizing supplies. They loved having a job, and it gave them a sense of ownership in the classroom. Even students who seemed to hate me at first would soften up when I asked for their help. There's something powerful about saying, "Hey, I really need your help with this." Most of the time, they jump right in. They just need that energy channeled in a positive direction. Now, from an administrator's perspective, when I was an assistant principal, part of my job was discipline. I handled a portion of the student body, and every day I'd see the same names come across my desk: referrals for disrespect, for skipping class, for tardiness, you name it. And one thing my principal taught me stuck with me. Whenever a student comes into your office, always pull their grades and attendance first, because that tells you the real story. The referral is just one piece of the puzzle. So I'd talk with the student about what was going on, not just the behavior, but their academics and attendance. I'd say, "Okay, you've got an D in this class. What's going on there? How can we get that up to a C or a B?" Then I'd set a follow up meeting right there on my calendar and have the student add it to theirs. I'd say, "2 weeks from now, I want to see you again. I expect this grade to improve, and I don't want to see any more referrals from this teacher." Almost every single time when that student came back, their grades were better and the behavior had improved. Why? Because I showed them I cared enough to check back in. It wasn't about punishment, it was about growth and accountability. And when students feel like someone actually notices their effort, they start to believe they can do better. Now, does that mean they were perfect after that? Of course not. Sometimes I'd have to remind them in the hallway, "Hey, we've got a meeting coming up. Remember what we talked about?" But it was progress, and progress is the point. Constantly writing referrals or sending kids to ISS doesn't solve the root problem. Restorative practices, having conversations, building relationships, setting goals, those are what create lasting change. They take time and consistency, but they work. If you want to learn more about classroom management or leadership strategies, I've got tons of resources available at kathleenjasper.com. You'll find courses like the Confident Classroom and Teacher Survival Guide, along with leadership prep materials for exams like the SLLA 6990. And if you prefer to listen on the go, we've got audio courses and free webinars too. Before we wrap up, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more updates, free teaching tips, and helpful resources. I post new content regularly to help you feel more confident and supported in your teaching journey. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with your friends, family, or colleagues who might need to hear it. Teaching is tough, but we're all in this together, and the more we share, the stronger we become as a community. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.